Back in the day, meaning about 6 months ago, those of us in the YouTube world of following Elon Musk and Tesla were constantly putting up our projections, our predictions about what's going to happen with car production, what's going to happen with margins, what's going to happen with the average selling price of the vehicles, what's going to happen with the price of the stock and all the rest of that. And of course, I still talk about these things sometimes abstractly, but you notice I haven't put up a chart, I haven't put up a spreadsheet in a very, very long time. Well, I'm going to change that today, but I want to change the context as well. You see, I'd love to have 2 hours right now with Elon Musk. I mean, the future of Tesla has never been more exciting. It's not even a comparison to what it was, 18 months ago when I started the channel, or 4 years ago when I started writing the Elon Musk method. But as exciting as it is, never has the future of the basic product lines been less certain or more obscure in terms of what's going to happen next month or what's going to happen next year. The predictions, I mean, Elon said in 2016 that he was going to build 500,000 cars in 2020, and he did. And then he said sales would increase by about 50% per year, starting with 2020 as a base. And that was true up and through the fourth quarter of last year. That's really amazing. And I think everybody agrees that that was amazing. And then he said, we're going to sell 20 million cars in 2030. So that would allow us to interpolate and extrapolate and do all those things that we do with numbers on a spreadsheet. And we can kind of say, okay, here's what's going to happen in 2024, 2025, 2026, et cetera, all the way to 2030. And you can probably remember, if you've been following the channel for a long time, I had my numbers all the way out to 2030, and I thought I was doing great. Well, the news has reported it in the last analysis, the last report that Tesla put out as a company. They had removed the 20 million cars from the speculation. And that doesn't mean that they're not still shooting for 20 million. That doesn't mean that they've changed their belief that 20 million is possible or anything else, but it does mean that they have removed it from the analysis wherein this particular report it had appeared before. And it was not replaced with a new estimate. And Elon hasn't given us any new estimate other than he said that this 2024 year would be a lull year between two periods of strong growth. And that's all he said. And so far, he's right. It has been that lull year. All right, let's take a look at capacity first. We're gonna break this down in such a way as I hope. Let me know, of course, in the comments whether you think I get this right or wrong. But let's start with capacity. The current capacity of all factories seems to be topped out right now with existing buildings at around 3.2 million cars. I would put that as 600,000 from Fremont. Yes, it's possible they could do 650, 700,000. I've heard that from other folks, and I don't know any better than them. But 600, let's use 600. 1 million from Austin. I think Austin is so big that maybe nobody really knows how many cars can be built in Austin. When I say that, I don't mean 100 million, but you know what I'm saying. I'm going to say 1 million is kind of the cap. 500,000 Model Ys and or 3s, along with 250,000 model of the Cybertrucks, and maybe 250,000 of some third vehicle, some other new vehicle. And that would be a total of 1 million. But that facility is so much bigger than Shanghai. Maybe we're completely wrong, and maybe they can make a lot more vehicles there. I don't know. And then we've roughly been told 500,000 in Germany. If you add all that together, I say 1.1 million in Shanghai. Forgot that. 1.1 million in Shanghai seems to be the number. Maybe it could be a few more, but that's where we are. So that gives us 3.2 million as a possibility. All right, now going from 1.8 million last year to 3.2 million in 2025 would be great. And they would be close to being back on track, but it would actually take 3.8 million to get back to the 50% per year growth. Well, I don't think there's the slightest chance of getting to 3.8 million in 2025. And in fact, I'm going to be happy if we get to 3.8 million in 2026. For 2025, I'm thinking it's going to be more like 2.5 million. But Randy, 2.5 million used to be your number for 2024. Yeah, that's true. In fact, I thought we'd be way over 1.8 million last year. So there you go. My numbers have not, the economy combined, whatever Elon thinks it is, whether it's the cost of interest, whether it's just the overall economy, whatever's going on, none of us, I would say zero. I don't even see Stephen. He's not even making bold predictions anymore. Anyway, so let's go ahead. Let's talk. We will also have a bunch of production in 2026 from the semi-truck. We'll have the Model 2.5, whatever that's going to be. We'll have robocabs. Maybe by 2026, we'll even be looking at the fully unboxed vehicles in 2026. But in order to get back on full track, we'd have to do 5 million cars in 2026. I don't think that's going to happen either. Certainly don't think it's going to happen without more factory space, because again, I think we're tapped out somewhere about 3.2 or so right now. And of course, we could add factory space in Berlin. That is projected. It is approved, I think, or virtually approved now. But you know how slow Berlin is to build anything, even after it's approved. So how long is that going to take? We're going to be building semi-trucks in Reno. Will we be building anything else there? I don't know. What about India? Yeah, so lots of possibilities for expansion, but to get to 5 million in 2026, no, don't think that's going to happen. So maybe we're just a full year behind on everything, and 5 million will be 2027. So for a full year behind on everything, we could still be looking at 20 million cars in 2031. But for this purpose, for today, I'm just going to look at the numbers that I've come up with for 24, 25, and 26. I'll give you each year. I'm just going to give you the base case, no bull case, no bear case, just the base case. All right. So I am going to just go ahead and put this, of course, onto the share screen. Okay. And I am not going to be one of those guys that, whites out things and surprises you as I do the entire thing line by line. I'm just going to throw out, here is, whoops, I wonder if I have the right year up here first. I think I do, yes. 2024 base case. No, that is the wrong one. I'm sorry, here it is, the 2024 base case. All right, laid out 100% for you to see. So let's take a look at what I've come up with here and see if you agree or you think I'm still being too optimistic. I think I'm being realistic, but maybe not. We're sitting at 387 for the first quarter. This is already in the books. If you go down there, we know that the average cost per car or price per car was 44.6. We know that the auto revenue, therefore, was 17.3, margins at 0.18%, total auto gross profit at 3.1, energy profit came in at 0.3, other profit came out at 0. There was no profit in the first quarter on other services. Total profit 3.4, overhead 2.5, GAAP 0.9, and earnings per share 26 cents. Okay, that's in the books. You can go look that up. Third quarter. Now, by the way, the earnings per share, I kind of split the difference between GAAP and non-GAAP, and so anyway, that's just how I did it. So what about quarter two? Well, the cool thing about when you're above break even is that as you grow above break even, the profit gets up really fast, okay? So let's look at quarter two. So I'm going to start with auto units at 473. Now you might think that's a little high. I think it's probably a close. I think some folks are thinking it might be as low as in the 430s, 440s. Other people talking about 460s. So 473, that could be just a bit high, but I'm going to go with 473 for the second quarter. That includes, of course, the 35,000 cars that were not in the first quarter that were being transported about at that point that were way over in terms of inventory. I'm thinking those will be in the number. I think there will be increases in sales around the world for the second quarter. I think we're seeing that. We don't have all the interruptions from the first quarter. That'll be a big part of it. So 473 is my number. I'm going to say that the average selling cost drops just a little tiny bit. Total revenue then at 21 billion, margin staying at 18%. Total gross margin or total gross auto profit therefore will be 3.8, just a little bit more, 7 billion more, 0.7 billion more, 700 million more. I'm going to say that the energy profit grows pretty substantially in the second quarter as we begin to see Lathrop fully maxed out doing a full job. So I'm going to go with 3.8 for Lathrop. Energy, I'm sorry, the other profit, I'm going to say we come in with a profit this time instead. I think that's the services profit have been consistently in the half a $500 million range. So I'm going to say 0.6. Total profit, therefore, 5.2. Overhead staying at 2.5. Remember, we just reduced overhead fairly dramatically. There's going to be some pickup of that in terms of when you lay off a bunch of people, there's a cost associated. But I'm going to say that overall, it stays the same. I would say we will see continued growth in total overhead for the rest of the year. Even with these cutbacks, I think we'll see growth in overhead. And then we have the GAAP coming in at this point then at 2.7. See how fast everything goes up really, really quick. And now you got earnings per share at 78 cents. Okay, now this is not a crazy number because last year we were getting numbers in the 80s and 90s. So it's not crazy to be back in the 78-cent range. In my opinion, maybe you think I'm wrong. Quarter three, I'm saying it jumps to 540,000 cars. The 540,000 cars now would be based on quite a few Cybertrucks being made, as well as continued expansion of the business in the United States in the third quarter. Now, yes, I know I've said maybe there's going to be a recession in the third quarter in the US. Recession, no recession, whatever, it doesn't matter. The growth curve for the S-curve growth for EVs is going to be still a growth curve for EVs. So I'm saying that between Europe, Shanghai increasing, so Shanghai's numbers are a little off. So I'm saying Shanghai picks up by the third quarter. By the end of the third quarter, we're starting to see these numbers. This is only a 10% increase month over month. So we're not looking at a huge increase here. All right. And I'm saying the average selling cost stays the same. Margins, by the way, we've also got the Performance Model 3. We've got Model 3 production picking up. There's a lot of reasons why we could see these increases. Margin, I'm saying, starts to creep up to 19%. And that's because the Cybertruck will start to be marginally more, have a better margin. The Model 3 will have better margins as it has been ramped fully. So I'm saying it pops up to 19, and then total gross profit of 4.6, slight increase of just $100,000 on energy, and a slight increase of $100,000 on services, giving us $1 a share for the first time. I think for the first time ever, over $1 a share. You may like it, you may not think I'm right, but there's what I've got. And then in the fourth quarter, just to continue, another 10% increase month over month. Again, same thing, Cybertruck increasing, overall increase in the US in particular, and maybe a decent increase in foreign markets as some of these cars like again, Model 3 Performance start to be shipped all over the world. I'm saying the margin pops up yet another point as for a whole bunch of reasons. A bunch of margins will be coming, the cost of goods will be coming down across the board. The efficiencies will be getting greater, as well as I think the prices will be more stable. So that would give us a total for the year of 2 million cars, 16.8 billion in profit, gross profit, 3 billion in energy profits, other profits 2.2, final GAAP EPS of $3.28. Giving the company a value at 60 times of 182. Now, why do I think we're going to still have a 60 PE at the end of the year, given only this slight increase in sales? Well, because of the value that's being given to the other businesses. You notice there's nothing else in here. There's nothing on Cybertruck. There's nothing on, I'm sorry, not Cybertruck. There's nothing on Robotaxi. There is nothing on full self-driving, no bump from full self-driving. There is, of course, nothing yet from Optimus. So yes, there will be a value placed on Tesla, as there is right now, a value placed on Tesla for all these other things that are coming, as well as for the increase that people are starting to project at the end of the year, as people project for the following year in terms of the increases in the other product lines. Well, it still only comes up to $182, okay? So my base case for the end of 2024 would give a base case value for the automotive division, automotive and energy and other, of 182. Do I think the stock will be at 182 at the end of this year? No, I don't. I think it'll be much higher. And you've heard me say that. So let's go ahead and take a look at 2025. Well, okay. I'm sorry. I'm jumping down to 2026. What have I done with 20? That must be 2025 actually. Yes, this is 2025, even though it says 2026. So Randy made an error. I know that's so shocking, right? I'm not going to change it. For maybe I should. 2025. There we go. All right. So 2025, I'm not going to go through all those details that I just went through just now, but the first quarter, a little slight reduction to 485,000, then a nice improvement. Again, Cybertruck at this point is almost fully ramped by the end of quarter two to the 250,000 per year level. By quarter two, you're going to be seeing shipments of the new products, whatever those new products are. You probably are starting to see some of the new version of the Model Y, with the changes in the Model Y by that time. If Elon has mentioned, I think that first quarter will be when that's likely to happen. So anyway, a $600,000 units would not be that crazy. By the way, you'll notice just overall, I've kept the average selling cost the same as last year, as 2024. And the reason for that is the Cybertruck is more expensive, so it's going to be generating slightly higher average costs. I think you're going to see, as these new products come in, that is going to be lower. So I'm just going to say it stays around the same. Plus, the average cost of the Cybertrucks will also be coming down from the 120,000 now down to maybe 80, 85. So I'm just going to keep it the same all year. Total auto revenues showing there for each month. Then you've got the margin. I'm saying it goes up as the year progresses and we get more performance Model 3s sold. We get more Cybertruck selling, et cetera, et cetera. The margins are going to go up, but only slightly. I'm not getting it all the way back to 25 at this point. And then energy profits, again, slowly building up through the year as Shanghai comes on board, as well as California being fully ramped. Other profit, I'm saying that continues to grow as the superchargers are being used more and more by other brands, as we see more and more income from other kinds of things that Tesla is doing, used car sales, et cetera, et cetera. And so all in all, you notice that I see the EPS starting out at $1.02 in the first quarter, getting all the way up to almost $2 by the fourth quarter, giving us a $6.09 total for the year per share. Times 60 would make the company worth $365 per share, just for automotive. No robots, okay? So $365 by the end of next year, just for auto at a 60 PE. Again, do I think that's what the price will be at the end of next year? Of course not, but that would be a way of evaluating. Now, maybe you'll say, oh, well, actually, by the end of next year, if there weren't any robots, auto would only be worth 30 PE. And if it was a 30 PE, that would drop you down to the 185 where we are right now. But again, people would be giving some kind of credit for these other product lines that are coming, as well as they would start to predict 2026. So let's see what happens in 2026. So now let's take a look at the 2026 base case. Once again, now I'm talking about moving up to 3.5 million vehicles for the year. Now, I think that it would be a stretch to get 3.5 million vehicles out of existing buildings. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe by becoming more efficient, getting more throughput, et cetera, we might be able to stretch to 3.5 million. I think more likely is that Berlin will be built out by the second half, and we'll start to see some production out of Berlin. Maybe there will be Mexico starting, and maybe, but that would be a pretty big. So this is like a maximum in my view. This is a bull case and a base case, but I also think it's a bear case because I don't think that there's any way we won't sell these vehicles if they're made in 2026. I've got the average selling cost staying about the same because why? Well, because there'll be more Cybertrucks being sold, which will raise the average selling cost, but there'll be more of these new models, the lower cost models being sold, which will lower the average selling cost. I can tell you one thing for sure, it won't be 44,500. It'll be something else. It'll be different. I don't know what it'll be, but it won't be that. All right, then we've got margins, again, staying in the same range for next year, a little bit lower in the first quarter and then popping up a little bit as the year goes on. And then you've got the total gross profit. All right, energy profits continuing to move up slowly. I'm guessing, again, that there will be at least one new facility announced sometime, maybe later this year, that will be in production by 2026. And we'll start to see some revenue out of that. But I think they'll be able to get to these numbers to $2 billion a month of profit with the existing facilities. Other profit is going to continue to go up as they build out more and more superchargers and as more and more cars from other companies come in and share those facilities. Semi will beginning to ship in significant numbers by the second quarter. And so we've got 100 million profit the first quarter, going up to about 400 million by the fourth quarter. But that'll be much higher in 2027. All right, so total profit for the year, for gross profit, 46.9, overhead going up slowly over the year to 14.5, giving us a GAAP earnings of 32.4, EPS $9.40. If you multiply that times the 60 PE, you get to $550 a share. Now remember, that's the company is worth then at the end of 2026 or sometime in 2026, $550 a share without any robots, without any new products. I mean, new products outside of auto and energy. So that's a pretty good deal. I think that's a pretty good result. So what do you think? Let me know how you come out on all of this. And if this was valuable at all, please hit like, please hit subscribe, hit notify. We've got the regular Sunday night product coming up tonight, which is of course called Monday Morning, as we talk about all of the cool stuff that you're going to see next week that's going to impact markets, including Tesla. All right, if there's nothing else, I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to stop sharing. I am going to hit the end button, and it's been great talking to you.